just jump right into questions. Coach McCasland.
Yeah, what an awesome day to be a Red Raider. You play all year long for the opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament and to find out where you go and who you play. I mean, there's nothing better. So a lot of excitement in the gym. I know our guys are looking forward to it. We play a tremendous opponent. I've actually played this Coach Siddle, and UNC Wilmington when I was at North Texas in a tournament in the Bahamas, and they actually ended up beating us in a very competitive game. They're tough, they're physical, they play hard. Man, just a ton of respect for them. So, I mean, we know what this is. When you make it to the tournament, you got a great team. So, looking forward to this first round.
Questions?
How's your health going, and particularly your top 8 rotation guys? You expect to have everybody available?
Yeah, great question. In regards to our health, honestly, I don't know exactly as of today. I mean, we just got back from the Big 12 tournament yesterday and trying to get a feel for where we are. I am optimistic that we'll have everybody playing. To what level, I'm not real sure. But I do know that they're hard at work and trying to get specifically Darian and Chance ready to go.
Is there anything that you plan on doing differently, like procedurally in preparation versus what you did first round last year in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think every team is unique, and this team specifically, I mean, like we watched film today and reviewed what we did in the Baylor game and what we did in the Arizona game, and just told our team specifically, I think we can get a lot better. I mean, when you look at the long term, if you're fortunate enough and blessed enough to keep playing, I mean, you get to play for 3 weeks. So, I mean, that's a lot of time. But to play in this first one, we get a few days to recover. Then I think we've got to get better. And specifically, we played one of our worst defensive games of the year against Arizona. A lot of it had to do with our ability to rotate and keep the ball out of the paint. A lot of it had to do with Arizona made some tough shots and did a great job scoring. So trying to really fine-tune, 1, transition defense, and 2, how do we get better at being more physical at the rim and help. Those 2 things we've got to take a big step in, and then always rebounding is big for our team. The better we rebound, the better we play.
You guys are finally here postseason. What does this mean to you, and how can you focus the team where they need to be? You said they're not where they need to be after the Arizona game.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you got to take a lot of things into account when you talk about the Arizona game. But really, honestly, man, we're thrilled. I mean, you get to play basketball, and you get to be one of the 60-plus teams that get to play in the NCAA tournament. I mean, you got to take advantage of every second you get to be together. And if there's one underrated part of college basketball, it's just being a part of a team. It really is awesome. And I think with this group specifically, and last year's group was awesome, and this year's group, I just think there's a real urgency to want to play for each other and play as long as we can. And these guys really do love each other. And so, I mean, in our film session today, I can just tell you there's a real sense of, love for each other. And I think it's genuine. And I think that is a big part of winning and competing this time of year, because you do have to be more unselfish than you've ever been. You have to be more humble than you've ever been. I just think there has to be a realness to whatever you're willing to do to get it done. And every game's going to be different. This game specifically will take everything we have to win, and we're aware of that, and I think our guys are willing to do it.
How much you kind of leaning on you guys returning from last year and that experience of coming up short in the first round, leaning on them like, hey, this is what we don't want to happen again?
Yeah, I mean, if you look across the board, we actually have some good experience in the NCAA tournament. I mean, you start with Kerwin. I think he's played the most games, and Fede, even though he's a transfer, has played in the NCAA tournament. Kevin Overton played in the tournament. JT Toppin played in the tournament. And obviously Elijah Hawkins didn't play in it last year, but he played in it 2 years ago. And then all the guys that we have returning on our team. These guys know what it takes to play in the tournament. Now I know that they want to win in the NCAA tournament, and there's a difference, as we both know.
That time just going to Wichita for this one?
Yeah, no, we're excited. I mean, I didn't even look and see where it was, to be honest. So now that you say it's Wichita, I did know that those were some of the options for this seed, and did know it would be in proximity. And obviously we spent some time in the area and know that our fans will travel. The Red Raiders will be there. That's what makes it exciting. And we've got our hands full, though. I think anytime you look at location, you can look at a lot of different things for us. But the biggest thing for me is that we're excited to be in it. You know, time, where, who. There's a lot that you can look at as factors. I'm looking at one factor, and that's, are we ready to play as a team? And that's what I think is most important, and I do think our team's ready.
You're always kind of just looking at what's ahead of you anyway, not looking ahead. But is that even more important now, not trying to look what could be coming after this and what is directly in front of you?
Honestly, just because of what we've dealt with in regards to injuries and who we have ready to play, I think the focus completely has to be on what puts us in the best position to be our best. And I mean, you can think a lot about other teams right now, or the path, or what you have to do to get. And I just think our focus really is like how can we be at our absolute best on Thursday and be ready to go.
Coach, going back to hearing y'all's name called just a little bit ago, you always talk about the love of this group. From the coaching standpoint, hearing that name called and seeing the guys hug each other, just what was the emotion seeing how much love they have now going into the postseason?
I'll tell you, it was ironic when we heard our name called. I mean, there'll be some footage of it, but it wasn't a big reaction. You know, I mean, I think one, we've been in a position where we put ourselves in a position to play in the NCAA tournament, but two, I do think there's a real sense of like, man, we haven't done what we wanted to do at this point, you know, and like this journey is just now getting started, and I guess you would say our guys are leaning into how difficult this is going to be, and I thought there would maybe be some celebration and hugging, and honestly sat there and they clapped, and I was like, all right, this is what we're doing, let's do it, you know. I mean, I do think that there was a real understanding when you look at these teams and you have a lot of respect for everybody you play. I do think there was a humility with our guys, and they're excited about this opportunity, but they're also, you know, I think focused on this is, I mean, we lost our last game too. It's not like you go into this tournament with a win and feeling great. And I think our team understands this is going to be difficult, and this first game is going to be no different.
How does the challenges of this season and the adversity you've had with all these injuries all throughout the year prepared you for it?
Yeah, well, it's been good because we've got a lot of guys minutes recently, and so I think that there's no question that the depth of our roster has been strengthened by the last few weeks. But also, I know there's an urgency to get everybody back and to play our best basketball. That's the name of the game this time of year, and you know, looking forward to that opportunity, and I do feel like that'll happen.
You mentioned losing that last game. Do you believe that actually can have a psychological impact for a team moving forward, as opposed to, say, winning the entire tournament, the Big 12 tournament?
Yeah, honestly, I can just tell you from our team, I don't think it'll be a negative approach. I just think, you know, with what we did in that game and the mistakes we made, we gave ourselves a chance to win, and we scrapped. That's what I loved about our team. And I think that heart, we'll continue with that. Really, the issue for us is like, how can we get better at those things that we know we need to do? And I do think we get a couple days to sharpen up and to get better at the things specifically that we talked about today. So I do think that the loss sometimes can make you think about, man, I think what it helped us do is learn that, like, man, the end of the year is here. You know, it is a very, like, you got to play good from the beginning. If you look at that game, I got two free throws off a technical. That's on me. But we started out the game 9-0 against us and just didn't play well defensively to start the game. I think there's just an edge that it reminds you that you have to play every second with, and I think it's a great teaching point.
Is there anything in terms of preparation that you want to change based on how you're going in the tournament this year, having lost in round one last season?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even try to compare it. I mean, it's such different teams, and just from a schedule standpoint, I'd have done the same thing I did last year going into it. You know, and I think the biggest thing for us is just making sure that we're putting our team in the best position. We do need to have a couple good practices though, and that needs to start tomorrow. So for us to get better, practice is going to be a big part of it, and we're not going to take any days off in preparation for this one.
Have you been able to watch any of UNCW? I know you've been busy with your own team this season, but just curious.
No, I haven't actually, but I've seen them play in the past and really have a lot of respect for them. And I don't say that just as a token. I mean that. I mean, I've felt the way they compete and the way they believe and how hard they play. And man, it's going to be, it's on. You know, and all NCAA tournament games are on, but this one I know just from experience of playing against their program, how physical and how tough and how hard they play and what belief they play with. So looking forward to the opportunity to compete.